Big changes are finally on the horizon for Lewis Hamilton's Ferrari chapter, and they couldn't come at a more crucial time. As the team looks to shake off a sluggish start to 2025, one question looms large. Will these changes include a shake-up at the very top, with Fred Vasseur in the crosshairs? Stay tuned and see for yourself. Ferrari fans, mark your calendars, because the SF25 is about to get a fresh dose of upgrades at next weekend's Austrian Grand Prix. Team boss Fred Vasseur has let slip that some long-awaited changes are on the way, though he's keeping expectations in check when it comes to a major performance leap. While Ferrari's recent updates have mostly been tailored to suit specific circuits and relatively minor in nature, that's about to shift. According to Vasseur, a more meaningful development phase is kicking off, and it could start as early as the upcoming race at the Red Bull Ring. Paddock whispers say that the Scuderia is zeroing in on the rear pull rod suspension. Yes, the same system they boldly switched to over the winter. The goal is to boost stability and unlock a more aggressive ride height setup, something the team has been wrestling with ever since Lewis Hamilton's disqualification in China exposed the risks of running too low. Vasseur told media at the Canadian Grand Prix, "We will have an upgrade soon before the UK, and perhaps another one a bit later. But honestly, today, I think there is much more in the execution and what you are getting from the car than in the potential of the car itself." Now, we are at the end of the life of these regulations, and we all know that when we are bringing something on track, we are more speaking about hundredths than tenths. With these updates, Ferrari hopes to finally get the SF25 operating in its sweet spot. But Vasseur isn't overselling it. After the Canadian GP, he made it clear. While upgrades matter, flawless execution on race day is what truly makes the difference. If you don't do a good usage of the car because the setup is a bit different, you can lose tenths, he said. A couple of times, on our side at least, and we are not the only one, when we brought upgrades in the past, we needed 1 or 2 races to adapt the car, to adapt the setup to the new version. Honestly, I think that, and I want to put the focus on the team, there is much more to come from the execution than the pure potential of the car. But we will bring something. And when asked what could be possible for them in Austria, this is what the Frenchman had to say. "I think that we were able to be in front in Monaco. We were able to be in front in the first part of the quali lap there. We have to target doing this. But if we want to start from the first rows and to have a clean weekend like Monaco, we need to do a very smooth weekend in terms of execution. It's where we failed massively in Canada." After qualifying 5th in Canada and bringing it home in 6th on race day, Lewis Hamilton didn't hold back in his assessment of the car's behavior throughout the weekend. According to the 7-time world champion, certain elements of the package just haven't been clicking as the sessions go on. More often than not, we go through FP1 and then, at previous races, FP2s have not been so great, because there's been something wrong with the car, like the floors not working, or the rear wing stopped working. There's always been something that meant we were down on downforce or something, so then you have a bad FP2, and you're kind of recovering in FP3. But we had a good, solid day yesterday, and then today we made progress. We didn't change a huge amount and the car felt solid. We moved forward, which I think is a first for this season. So I'm grateful to get through to Q3. Hamilton noted that some personal tweaks to his driving style have led to small improvements lately, but he's made it crystal clear. If Ferrari wants to take the fight to the front, updates aren't optional. They're essential. It's just incremental steps, he said. "We've not had any upgrades or anything like that. It's been the same car for quite some time now. And with the same package each weekend, I'm just challenging the guys. I'm constantly battling the engineers, asking them questions. Because they set things up and are like, this is how we always do it. And I'm like, what about this? So we work on trying things. And bit by bit, we are making progress. We're improving our qualifying from Monaco onwards, which is positive. Ultimately, we need upgrades. We need an upgrade to be able to fight the guys up front. As teams juggle the delicate dance of staying competitive in 2025 while gearing up for the seismic regulation changes coming in 2026, Hamilton emphasized where his sights are set. The true goal is to build a car that's ready to win under the new rulebook. It's my first half of the year in a new team. It's interesting to see how different teams work and operate, he said. There have been times in my career where you've had a whole bunch of upgrades very, very early on in the season, and you plow ahead very early, then you stop and taper off, and then sometimes it's been slower. It's also, in the last year of this generation of cars, harder to find performance, and you could at least focus on the next year. The fact is, with this car, we hopefully can still fight for a second in the constructors, which would be great, but I want a car that can win next year, so that's priority. Rumours of Fred Vasseur's potential departure from Ferrari have been gaining momentum, and now it's starting to sound like there may be more than just paddock gossip fueling the fire. According to recent reports, the Frenchman's position at the helm of the Scuderia is under real scrutiny. That's the word from F1 insider journalist Ralph Bach, who dropped the bombshell on the outlet's YouTube channel. I think he has a real problem. Normally, you don't have to take every story that circulates on the internet seriously, but in this case, if you know the background at Ferrari and the politics at Fiat, it's a whole different scenario. Corriere della Sera and Gazzetta dello Sport released this story almost at the same time. That something was happening, that there were already other candidates as replacements, and that the big Fiat boss and Ferrari president John Elkann is already talking to people who could and would have been a replacement. Bach claims the green light for these reports may have come from none other than Ferrari chairman John Elkann himself. Elkann, who also chairs Exor, the parent company behind both Ferrari and Stellantis, which includes Fiat, allegedly gave his blessing for Italian media outlets to run with the story. According to Bach, Exor's stake in the journals adds weight to the notion that this isn't just speculative noise. It could be a signal of shifting tides at Maranello. If it hadn't been for these two newspapers, you would say, yes, these are only rumours. But from my own experiences, I know that Fiat is also a shareholder in the publishing house that publishes these newspapers. That means that if they write a story like that, they must check with the publisher. The publisher will then talk to John Elkann, who wants to do this and that. What do you think? And it's like a blessing. That's the problem, that it could mean something. I'm quite sure that Elkann found out about this story beforehand and didn't stop it. The message is that he's under pressure. He's being watched by John Elkann, who is looking for a successor but is not quite there yet. But it is the beginning of the end, you could say. As speculation continues to swirl around Fred Vasseur's future at Ferrari, one of his fellow Formula One team bosses has stepped in to defend him. Vasseur, who pushed back against the mounting rumours during media duties ahead of the Canadian Grand Prix, has now received a public show of support from Williams team principal James Vowles. Fresh off signing a contract extension with Williams earlier this week, he spoke to the media and weighed in on the situation. I've known Fred for probably 20 years or so. Fred is an incredibly good leader. And what you see him doing here in front of you today is he's shouldering all of this because that's what we do. And that's our job to do it. And his point is actually valid. For me personally, it's never caused me grief or upset. But what I've seen it do is destroy individuals as a result of one line that's written by someone who may or may not know any details behind it. Do you think that Frederic Vasseur has done enough to keep his job at Ferrari? Or is it time for the Scuderia to make a bold move? Let's argue in the comment section below. And if you haven't, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel for the latest F1 news. Thanks for watching.